Well, hopefully y'all find this because whoopsies, I hit the wrong button and we just disconnected the entire stream. That's all it takes. I mean, the joy of technology advancements is that it's really easy to end a stream, and the downsides to technology advancements is it's really easy to accidentally end a stream as well. Dennis, just continue. While you're going, I will get this link out to everybody and try and get some people back in here, man.
All right. Well, I think I was just talking about how he's coming to us, but it was the porcupines who brought him. It was the porcupines who really wanted him. They brought him. Now there were some other porcupines who tried to get Cody Wilson to come.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't succeed. My argument to the 2A people is that if you really want your stuff, come bring somebody who's really exciting. Who's a lot of people are going to come down and see. And I'll put them on. Bring them early enough, and we won't have room for these other people. But a segment brings their person, even if it's Jack and the flat earthers. And if it's gonna be a couple hundred people, 200, 250, and they can talk about a libertarian theme, we'd have to work on the flat earth or libertarian theme. I mean, it's not really particularly libertarian. But
no,
anyway,
it's not. It's just fucking crazy, which I love.
We could probably come up with a theme. I'm very creative.
Twist anything into a libertarian thing. Dave, I'm curious of your thoughts on the RFK thing as an outsider and somebody who's kind of just finding out about these controversies as we're bringing them up. What's your take? I can probably assume.
Yeah, well, libertarians, because we're so picky and can't agree on anything, will immediately go to the things and tell you why he's not a libertarian, and there's quite a few. But the things that he's great on are the most important things, I would say, like the COVID lockdown stuff, foreign wars of aggression. He's been pretty good on bioterror through like Monsanto and like big tech, big agri, all that stuff. A consumer advocate, you might say, like in that fashion. And he's smart. I'll say I listened to him on Dave Smith on his podcast, the one he just did today. And I can't think of another example of like a more tragic irony that like he could be a champion of the people, but like his voice is like hard for me to listen to be perfectly honest. Like it's like,
oh yeah,
it's so very sad. But with that said, I mean, he's awesome. And my position right now, while the Libertarian Party is extremely unimpressive, and that's being, I think, a little gentle about it with presidential candidates, it's still early, but anything we could do,
BRB, keep going.
Anything we could do to make the Democratic Party a little bit less malevolent would be a great advancement for liberty, I think. So if we can just make it so that maybe they don't want to put us against the wall, I think that would be awesome. So yeah, right now I think he's got my support. I think that's great. You guys are having him. And Ron Paul said, the libertarian philosophy should infiltrate all the parties: Libertarian Party, Democrat Party, Republican Party. So that's really cool. You guys are bringing everybody in.
Yeah. I mean, the people who are really interested in bringing him in for the Free State Project, for the Free State movement, they don't really care. What they, it's really hard to explain to people why they should be going to PorcFest. It's a lot easier once you go there, especially after the week. You go, oh my goodness, what an experience that was. But experiences are hard to explain.
Yeah.
And so this is like an excuse. I'll go there and I'll meet RFK, I'll meet Tulsi, I'll meet this, I'll meet that. But I can tell you that the real experience you're going to have is up in the campground, talking, 7:00 at night with some people from South Carolina and
talking to Jack Casey about flat Earth.
Well, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I've
came for the politics, stayed for the flat Earth.
Stayed for the flat Earth. That's right. Now, there is a question of like. By the way, guys in the chats, drop if you had fake super chats. I had them saved and we were going to get to them, and now they're gone. Sorry. Repost them if you can remember what they were, and we will get to them. But as far as like, I mean, there's been some controversy around the drag queen story hour thing and debates about whether or not PorcFest is family friendly or if that's the type of community that you're going to end up with. And I mean, I've been there. I've seen some butts. I've seen some wieners here and there. I mean, is PorcFest family friendly? I think it's debatable. I love
So
PorcFest,
Dan,
but I don't know if I
and
would call it family friendly all the time.
so usually by this time of year, on a run up to PorcFest, we have somewhere between 0 and 1 drama that we're dealing with. I now count 11 that I have
Really?
been handling, and I'm not too sure why that is. I mean, it's a very interesting phenomenon. The drag queen story hour was just it was one of the most bizarre things. We had people who arguing who don't have who's not married and doesn't have a child, um, arguing just intensely with someone who has publicly stated they never want a child over what parents should do with their children. And I'm going, what are you, who are you?
Sure.
And we tend to be fairly parental rights absolutist. We don't think that the state should make a decision. We don't think the mob should make a decision. We don't think, so to get this thing where everyone's arguing, well, I should be the one making the rules. And I think that this should be this and I should be that. So yeah. And it was all trolling each other. From what I can tell, it was just
Is
like
there
kind of poking at each other.
is there a drag
And
queen
just
story hour? I don't even know if that was just a thing on Twitter or if that's an actual
we've
thing.
never had a drag queen story hour.
Yeah.
There was no plans. No one had a plan for a drag queen story hour. What happened was
Me and Jack have a
Maj
plan,
made
by the way. We're going to do Fag King story hour, and it's going to be adults only with Jack Casey. Anyway, continue.
and I mean, and frankly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, if it's on your campground, you do what you want, and we believe in property rights.
Sure.
What
Think of how
happened was that Maj made a comment totally away from PorcFest.
Yeah.
One of our porcupines, who's not politically aligned with Maj's thickness, has her own thickness, made well, you better not come to PorcFest because we have tons. I'm telling you, tons of drag queen story hours.
Right.
And I don't know how we measure by the ton. I don't think we even measure by the pound, but we got tons of it.
Right. Well, my question is
and
like,
so Maj starts getting upset, and then oh man, the sides start forming up.
yeah.
And I'm like watching this and go, what is going on?
It felt
here,
like
guys?
it felt like an online infiltration, like almost to like put PorcFest down from that by them. But I am curious if you have any concerns about, like, since PorcFest is about anybody can do basically what they want, these people kind of infiltrating, like, there's a nudist community, but I've almost never seen nudists because they typically keep to themselves. But there's issues with, as the culture gets more, open with that stuff or into that stuff, is there a concern that non-libertarians will be like, oh, here's a place where we can go and just be naked around kids and stuff and actually infiltrate it and make it into something else?
Well, I mean, the big problem we had last year was really around the nudism, and it wasn't even around nudism.
Yeah.
We have one hub that is a quote unquote body freedom hub, and it's actually some I love these people, fantastic folks. They have a good time.
They let us shoot the video of Robbie Bernstein out there. So
Yeah,
they're cool enough.
they have nude Olympics and nude yoga and all this other stuff.
And it's like way out on the edge
fun
too.
to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, most people don't even go over there. It's the campgrounds are pretty large. But anyway, so they do that on their own property. I asked them to do a little bit of shielding and that type of thing. One of their members, whom I know very well, I think he's an absolutely fantastic person. I love him. He's just a great guy. He designed a grass skirt. He actually made it out of grass, out of long leaved glasses, and I thought it was really clever. He came and he wore it over to the Shell has a hub. He wore it over there, and I was going, damn, that's a smart idea. The trouble was that if you looked at it from a different angle, it wasn't particularly well constructed.
Sure.
And from the angle I was seeing, I thought it was damn clever, and my wife was going, "Oh no, I could see everything."
Not that clever.
But she was also staring a lot more,
She was into it. She likes the grass skirt guy.
um, and so, people were like, kind of. There are people who believe that, that seeing a naked man is a per se a NAC violation, and that it turns their kid gay, or this, and it's just like, oh shit. And we actually went through last year. I went through 2 months of intense negotiations of people getting really angry, and there were actually people so upset that we had to take further action. But it wasn't the nudists; it was the people threatening the nudists. Um, and so anyway, the upshot was, and you'll be surprised to know, the problem was that we actually were too communistic within this libertarian society. What we were doing was we had a tragedy of the commons, right?
Yeah.
The roads are all of ours, and
Right.
the pavilion is all of ours, and we all own this, and therefore we can do anything we want to. And it's like, wait a minute, no, no, we paid the money, so we own it, so we get to set the rules. And then what are the rules? Pain in the ass to come up with it. People are going to be pissed no matter what. But we set down some rules. So one of the rules is that you have to be clothed walking down the street. Boom, done. Everyone says, "You're the government." I go, no. This is a private
Yes,
property.
we are the government because it's our property.
That's my road. It's like you have a party in your house, and you say no nudism in the living room. I want the
Right.
Look, you don't have to come in my house. Now, this is a really big house. I got it. It's a really big house.
Right.
It's
You can be naked in your room all you want.
Yeah. You get your own room. Be naked. Bring people in there. Be naked. You're fine. Just don't come into the living room. Okay.
Right.
So anyway, but it's the same thing with the guns, or with smoking pots, or whatever it is. We have rules for.
Wait, somebody's against smoking pot?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, I was surprised that my co-producer. So she's actually in charge. I'm in charge from July up until about June 20th or June 19th, and then it goes over to Constance, who's in charge of fulfillment, and she's in charge of the porta potties and the sewerage and the water and all the stuff that's and she's been kicking ass this year. I mean in the past years, I've always been scared about this stuff. It's always fallen through the cracks. I'm always worried about it, and usually I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going up and going up to the well, and climbing up the rickety ladder and pulling off the top, see how much water we made it through the night and what we have, and but she's great. I'm really feeling good about that. But yeah, so she made a rule that you can't smoke in the pavilion. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But she's in charge. I'm okay with that. Now will the pot people come? It's all right. We should be. What about at 420? We should be. I'm going. Look, you have your own hubs.
Right? At 420, there's some place, a million places there that are smoking pot. It's perfectly fine.
I tell you. You will not find
the street right outside the pavilion. They will be smoking pot at 420.
It's just in that one place. She says no. I mean, I don't understand. It's so funny because this has actually been an interesting exercise in private property, where for some reason we forget what private property is, and we keep on thinking that there should be a commons and that we should be fighting endlessly over it. We know that doesn't work in the authoritarian systems. We know about tragedy of the commons. We know what the one and only one solution is. The solution is private property, exercising private property down to the street level.
Right.
And this is not hard. You want to get rid of homeless on the street, and
same way we don't let you shit in the sinks. Like I did at some point. It's your business that you have to deal with, and you have to deal with all the angry customers if one dude decides to walk around with his junk out. Like, it's your problem, not theirs, to deal with at that point. So it's up to you to put a squash on it for your sake and other people's sake.
Yeah, and I mean, what we want to maximize enjoyment across all the different segments.
Yeah,
and and that's why I'm a little bit upset with the Second Amendment segment. I keep on telling look, you're just one of segments. We have the Agorist segment. We have the homesteading segments. We have the farm segment. We have the homeschooling segment. We have the community segments. We have, we have the crypto segments. We have the metal segments. We have so many different segments. We have the political segment, and this is one segment interest versus another segment's interest.
Mm.
And all we're doing is saying, for this one event, this is the segment that brought it. This is the segment we're going with. Now, had you brought Cody Wilson, like you said you were going to,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I have a line on Cody. What are we going to? I actually offered Cody Wilson 2 slots at the pavilion. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who not only will the Second Amendment people come down to see, but there's, so many people will come to see. Now,
Yeah.
will he be controversial? Absolutely.
Of course.
I know people who will be very upset with that. One of the trolls did a great troll. He trolled the Golden Wedgie. That's Sarwalk's group that PorcFest was having John Ritter come and talk at the pavilion. and they just went nuts. They and the Green Party and everything. Oh man, they were just going crazy. Now, would I have John Ritter at PorcFest if I had 300 porcupines? Personally, I would actually go listen to the man. He's a guy who stood in front of the Iraq war machine alone. To me, he's more brave than Tank Man. And I don't know if Tank Man was killed, but I think Ritter was railroaded.
I think that's probably a good place to take it back and get Dave's thoughts on all of the last 15 minutes, because there's a lot of things in there that we talk about on the show a lot with the Drag Queen Story Hour stuff and the consent stuff and all that stuff. So I'm curious your thoughts, Dave, so far.
Well, I'll just start again by saying, PorcFest sounds awesome. I want to go. It sounds like a good party. I'm not sure, if I.
Tom, what are you doing?
I
tried.
This is my last year. And it changes. Whoever's in charge, it changes. I keep on telling these people, go, Dennis sucks. I go, look, they're looking for a replacement. If you think you can do it better, goddamn, jump in. They're looking for people.
Dave's gonna direct next year.
Yeah, right.
Oh my goodness, that would be impressive.
No, I don't think with the Drag Queen Story Hour stuff again. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were trolling or not, or if it was like semi-serious, or that stuff is becoming more and more popular. So you might see 1 or 2 pop up. Again, dude, we've talked about this. Like, I use some nuance. Like, I think it's weird. I think it should be shunned. If you're dressed up, in drag and reading to kids, I think that's weird, and you should point and you should shun those people. I'm not ready to say that in and of itself is child abuse. But there's a really fine line. Like, yeah, it depends, like Maj said, depends on the content that you're reading to the kid and what kind of, I've seen ones that aren't in public libraries that are in like bars that are way worse. Like these kinds of things. I don't know. I don't know that should be tolerated, because I know it's not just a political event, but libertarians shouldn't tolerate child abuse, right? So if we determined what that was, it was happening at PorcFest. You know what I mean? You might have.
That's the line. That's the line that you have to figure out. Yeah.
Well, I totally agree with you. I mean, everyone's against child abuse. The trouble is who decides.
Right.
Right. Who decides?
Well, would you agree
we
that
actually
reading
had
sexual material to a kid is is child abuse?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So for example, I was raised in a surgical family. To us, that was just part and parcel.
No,
of
not
the
learning.
experience.
I'm not talking about sex ed. I'm talking about learning what blowjobs are and learning what these things are. And
I don't know.
Using those terms. I mean, that's
I think there's a if you want to take the child away, if you want to make a case that the child should be taken away, just be goddamn careful. We had the government here in New Hampshire take away the child of one of the New Hampshire House representatives because he had given ivermectin to his kids. Or was it ivermectin? It was one of those drugs that you can't take it. Now, the reason why it was political payback, because he had basically been fighting hard to remove the COVID restrictions and to allow ivermectin to be sold over the counter. So they went after his kids. So this is what drives me nuts about the conservatives. Just drives me nuts. They vote for the Patriot Act, always thinking it's just going to be them making the decisions, and they're the ones who are going to. And then it's 20 years later, it's being used against their wives, and they look around, and go, "What the fuck did we just do?" But they don't realize. They don't think. I can't give tyrants this power over me and my family. They go, "Oh no, I got a new one. Let's give the tyrants control of this." So I don't know whom it is that you're talking about that's going to make these decisions. So often it's somebody saying, "Well, I'm going to make this decision for everybody." Okay, so you're going to be the tyrant of everybody. Good luck with that. Are you really psychopathic enough that you're going to rise in power? How has that worked? We are not.
No,
the tyrants.
I'm not. I would just say,
we don't
libertarians, right?
this.
As libertarians, we can think about what we're willing to put people in cages for, and it's for acts of aggression, right, or coercion or theft, like these kind. We've hammered this out. So all I'm saying, like, if you want to be purely, in a hypothetical situation, if you could prevent, like, or what would you do, right? If I'm pointing to a kid over there, and that kid's mother is walking them across the street to the child butcher shop because this 7-year-old says that they feel like the opposite sex and they want to be loaded up with hormones, and the doctor and parent decided that that was okay for this autistic child to do. So is it or is it not abuse for that to happen, regardless if you have the 3-way consent between kid, parent, and doctor? Is it morally justified to do that to that child? I would argue no. And if I had a magic wand or would do whatever, I would put mom in a cage to stop her from doing that to that child, because that's just.
Even if that same wand would put you in a cage for stopping taking
right,
your
it
child
would now. Yeah,
to
you're
that
right.
butcher, right? So you're wishing, you're saying, well, if I were ruler of the world, if I were king of the forest, right? So you're thinking I can be the autocrat. I mean, come on.
Not me.
Larkin Rose is going to be there this PorcFest. Come and talk to I understand you think that you can be the right tyrant.
Not me. I mean, this is just the rule of law, right? Do you have a right to abuse a child? You don't have a right to punch your kid in the face.
But you have a
right to chop off.
You haven't.
I just defined. I thought I did. I don't know. Like, if you are ready to make a eunuch out of your child.
Again, we're getting really big picture, and I appreciate it and enjoy it.
Sorry,
but I do like it, and keep going, please. But it just.
You brought up drag queen story hour. So, like, I'm
again, we're like starting another debate, and I like it.
Is it abuse to just redo a kid in drag? Probably not. But you know what? There's some stuff that really is, and I don't know. Yeah, where do you draw the line?
No, I look. This is one of the hardest things. We're not going to. PorcFest isn't going to solve it, right?
True. Right. Nobody's going to be transitioning their kids at PorcFest either, to my knowledge.
We know of abuse is blowing people up, right? There's gonna be
a transition booth in like 3 years at PorcFest. Snip, snip.
Freedom.
We have people here who say, no. We want them to transition their kids. Stop the line.
Yeah. I know, it's a tough one.
No penises allowed in the pavilion. Sorry.
The last thing anybody should want to do is call Child Protective Services on a parent or a kid. That's the worst thing in the fucking world. I'm with you on that. I'm not asking for that. I would never do that. I'm just saying.
So if you were in the Free State, I'd invite you to come. We have a Big Liberty Ideas. We could come and talk about it, because I have some ideas about this. How you would stop it. How you would set up covenant communities and say, this is acceptable, this isn't acceptable. There'd be but you'd have to actually allow other people to do things that you think are abuse, right? Within your community, you'd say, this is abuse. Within that community, you go, my God, they're piercing ears. Can you believe that? Right. Ear piercing.
Or circumcision. Or like there's a lot of options. Yeah.
I think beating a child is abuse. I mean, I'm like kind of one of these like peaceful parenting, give the child total autonomy very early on. So now, I don't walk in the shoes of a lot of people whom you're talking to. I know people who are like that, and God bless them. I know they're doing hard walking. I don't really have a solution, but I have some ideas for a solution. But libertarianism doesn't really have a solution. And I sure as hell know that the state doesn't have a solution. Because what I've seen from the state has been violating us, turning our kids into zombies with all this medication that they're mostly boys, right? They're dulling the brains of boys, um, calling them all ADHD. It's just to force them into these boring ass schools. Um, and there's so much abuse that's going on that I think is abuse. Now, what's my solution? My solution isn't to fight and try to come up with one rule for everyone. My solution is get your kid and save them.
Yeah.
Right? Get your kid and save them. Bring them to the free state. Let's have 10,000 solutions. Right? Let's have 10,000 solutions. And yeah, you might go, well, that I hate that solution. At least your kid is safe. But maybe we can do better. I don't know how to do this. I don't see a solution. Well, it's a tough issue.
It is.
Move to the free state.
It's a tough issue.
We'll solve it. You and I.
And I love these discussions and debates. Absolutely. I do want to get some time before we wrap up here and jump into the after party with me and Dave or whoever wants to say. I'm curious. Dennis, you mentioned that there were like 11 controversies or something to that effect. We don't have to get too deep into all of them, but I do have to know, like, what are the other... I mean, we've talked about 3 so far in the last, 2 hours. So what are the other 7?
Well, RFK actually is 3.
Okay.
Because it was, or was it 4? Well, it was, should we have any politicians we actually have a contingent who hate politicians.
Yeah.
Should we have any politicians? Should we even allow, we shouldn't even allow libertarian politicians, or then, we should only allow libertarian politicians. I don't know how you decide that.
It'd be really hard next year when everybody's a fucking politician to not have to not have politicians, because you've got all these presidential candidates. Like, it'd be foolish to not have them.
For you to deal with all these opinions is incredible.
Right.
Incredible. Thank you for doing this.
Well, I mean, I'm a big tent, old school, live and let live libertarian. The thickness that is going on in the Libertarian Party now from both the left and the right really concerns me, because, libertarianism is self-ownership, and I'm a self-ownership absolutist. The group, I'm starting 2 groups when I get out of here. Get out of here. It's like a prison sentence.
I'm sure it feels like it sometimes.
To the next PorcFest producer. When I end my tenure as the PorcFest, marvelous tenure as the PorcFest organizer. But one is thin, tolerant libertarianism. The other one is die free, to allow us to choose how we die. Because if we own our own bodies, we shouldn't have to ask anyone about how we die.
Man.
That's a present.
I'll debate you on that one, but that would be fun. But we don't have time for it right now. Continue. Sorry.
But anyway, so RFK specifically, right? People just hated him. People love him. Is that was, we shouldn't have RFK. Vivek is okay. This so and so's, but not RFK. And then the gun free, right, which we've talked about. In terms of guns, every year we have 3D printing of guns. We have a group that didn't like that. You don't know what you're starting. Oh my God, you're gonna be responsible.
This is not the place for you, bro. Come on. Like, if you can't handle weed or ghost guns, then maybe don't go to PorcFest. Let's be honest.
Free domain stuff, every single one of these I'm willing to take the heat on, because I just think that, we have different segments, we have different people, and, I'm kind of defending the undefendable. We had 2 years ago, we had a panel of prostitutes talking about sex worker freedom, and oh my God, you thought that it was oh. Anyway, let's see.
There's always going to be somebody bitching. Yes.
Drag Queen Story Hour, that counted as 2, because we had the people who were really upset with people who said, I'm going to go smack them down. The Maj Therese, and then the people who were like going, I'm going to read the most sexual things to children. And, oh my God. And it was all trolling from what I could tell.
It's like it's like the spectrum of autism on 2 different sides of it. And like, I'm going to be the worst that I can be either way, no matter what my stance is. I'm going to be the worst of it.
Oh yeah, and just to twist it, I mean, I think Twitter has been such a bad influence on people, because you get to PorcFest, and all of a sudden you go, okay, I have so much more in common with these
Right.
people. And everyone's nice, and I mean, and it's like kind of like this idyllic place. It's so much fun. But then on social media leading up, it's like, oh, everyone, and everyone's trying to signal their tribe to gang up on the others. I'm going, really? Come on. The nudists, we have that's two sides. The people saying that we should be able to be nude
Yeah.
anywhere we want. Why can't we do this and why can't we do that? And the answer is property rights. And then the other people who say there shouldn't be any nudes, and
Right.
the answer is property rights. The big debate about reparations. What else? There was another thing here. Anyway, somehow that counts up to 11. And
It's all good.
And like I said, usually it's somewhere between 0 and 1 by this point.
Right.
I'm hoping that we get this out of our system, and that this 20th, which is this is a big one. This is a double X. That's why Jack, you're such a loser for not going.
Jack is going. Dave is not going.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Dave is the loser. Yeah, I suck.
So Dave, come on. So Dave, it's double X, double the size. This is 20 years. This is big.
Awesome.
It's really cool symbols. They're going to have silver coins with the double X. You don't get one because you didn't go.
Man,
Jack Casey says,
I'm bummed about that.
"Oh, go ahead."
No. I said I was bummed. I'm not going to get one of those coins, but yeah, it sounds awesome, man. I wish I could be there.
Jack Casey says, "Thank you, Dan, for this episode and having Dave and Dennis on at the same time." Jack also said earlier, who, like I said, he's been loving this the whole time, but he'll be there, and he'll get to meet you, Dennis, and that's going to be a wild time. But Jack said earlier in the fake super chats before the stream, complication. Jack said, "I want Dave to be what Dave is, and I want Dennis to be what Dennis is, because they're both great at basically, what you guys are doing. So there's a place for everybody, and I think you're both being honest, and yeah, you guys are both great."
Well, we should do a debate at some time.
Sure,
I would love
we
that.
absolutely can.
We'll get Gene Epstein. You can moderate.
I can moderate. Yes, I've done a few debates. I did 12 candidates, 12 libertarian presidential candidates for the last election on a debate. So I think I can handle you yahoos. But Nimitz says, fake super chat. Do you have a place to stow our guns? I may be on my bike that day. That's for Dennis, I assume.
Yeah, and the answer is, if you're coming armed, you should know what to do with your arms. If you are in a situation where you are not fully in control of your senses. So now, maybe you can make arrangements there and stuff like that. But that is kind of, we have these etiquette classes, gun etiquette classes at PorcFest. And that is, kind of a clear rule that you really ought to be, you ought to know where you can stow your gun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are there friends, or, is there some way of you doing something there? I'm not going to solve that problem for you.
Right. You could probably ask one person at one campsite, and they'd say, absolutely, here's my lockbox for my gun. Like, you can throw yourself.
It was so funny. There was this guy who's coming in. He's, I'm coming from New York State. I'm actually moving to the Free State. I'm so excited, but I have to bring my guns. But then I have to go back. I don't want to travel across state lines with the guns. But I want, does someone have XYZ license and stuff like that? And this one guy's one of the porcupines said, "Well, I'll hold your guns for you." And he goes, "Well, do you have these certifications from the state?" And everyone's going, "Do you know who you're talking to? This
Right.
guy knows more about guns than anyone. He's got probably now." He doesn't really probably have all the certifications that you think are necessary, but he's so much better, And the guy goes a little bit sheepish. "Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot what state I'm in."
Yep, absolutely. Danielle says, fake super chat. The LP needs a jaw witness. I don't know what that means, but she also says, fake super chat. Mises witnesses. We need to send our best, most charismatic out into community to recruit. Y'all thoughts?
You heard the good word of the Mises caucus?
Yeah, if you're recruiting to the Free State, do it. Do it. I mean, I think you take the people who are the strongest libertarians and move them out here. The people who really are going to build. The people, the people who say, "Well, you don't have pot legalized yet. I'm
Who
not
said
moving
that?
out until
A couple people in the chats did before you, Dave, so it's all good.
Oh, okay.
You're not.
I'm not moving out until you do. Do not understand the word project. Do not understand what it is that we're doing. We're building. We are creating. I use the analogy that we get all these people and we tell them about this beautiful skyscraper that we're building to the stars, and it's going to have this beautiful overlook and stuff like that. And they come and they look, and there's a hole in the ground with the foundation. They go, well, this doesn't have a good view.
Dennis, I would
go,
never.
You don't
I would
understand.
never shit.
We've got the foundation, the infrastructure. You're built, putting the girders in, baby.
I would never. It's one of the best things the liberty movement has going on. I'm glad you said that because it feels like it's more like it's a huge undertaking. It's not like, yo, Ancapistan is here. Like, I think
Right.
some people feel like that. Like, no. You're doing a multi-generational plan to build a homeland, right? Not like,
And really, if we're being fair, PorcFest and Ancapistan is here for 1 week out of the year. So yeah, like that is the experience that you're getting. You're getting Ancapistan, the thing that we're all supposedly seeking. That is what PorcFest is. But yeah, Dave, you're absolutely right. Like, go ahead.
I love you guys, but Woodstock is not representative of the market. I'm
Right.
sorry. It's not. PorcFest is, I'm sure, the best libertarian function in the world. I want to go so bad and do all the shit. I'm just saying that's not like indicative of how a libertarian society would function. The hippies got that wrong in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like Woodstock, hey, that's what they were trying to say. 3 days of peace, love, and music, man. This is how society could be. No, it cannot. You know what I'm saying? It takes more than that. That's not what the market
Now the
is.
hippies all grew up and they're transing their kids and bombing auto zones. But
right, and everything's too cultural. You're right, man. The libertarians we are not immune to the culture war, and that's probably why we're at each other's throats more than ever. You're right. You're right, and people need to go.
There's
to
layers.
touch
There's
grass,
layers
do
to all of
drugs, be naked, have some fun.
at the very least, I would say, yeah,
withdrawing
embrace it.
my invitation. I'm withdrawing my invitation for him to go to PorcFest. I think he should come out just on a regular week.
Take it back.
Just on a regular week, okay? I'll put you up. I'll give you a great deal at the Independence Inn. It's a free state.
They are the hospitable folks.
Nice.
And then just every single day, go to at least 2 Liberty events a day, okay? Just 2. We have a gigantic calendar. We're building PorcFest 365. You go, oh, that's impossible. Well, guess what we're doing? So then after the week is done, you come back and tell me how impossible it is. How, look, 6,000 years.
I would love it.
6,000
Look, I'm from
years of
Illinois.
slavery.
If I can take a libertarian vacation, even like that is amazing. Like,
Yeah,
to be praised.
Absolutely. Find
Yes.
your people. Absolutely. This is the best thing. That's why I don't want to come across as completely
Right.
contradictory. You need to go be with your people. Dennis, I know why this is such a big deal to you because it is, man. You're providing the place where the libertarians can gather and really like unplug. It is so special. I'm not trying to really. I'm a huge fan of you now and everything you guys are doing. 20 years is a huge deal. I'm not trying to underplay any of that. It's awesome.
Well, come out, visit us. You will be impressed. You will love it. And I mean, if you think that PorcFest is just kind of this one-time deal, my job, I see my job as creating PorcFest 365. That's what I see it as. And we're doing that with all the different activities that we're doing, all the different segments, building up. And you know what's so fantastic here, and that you don't understand, is that where you are. If you want freedom in X area, you have to work on that area. And then if you want freedom in Y area, you have to work in that area, and you're going to lose in both areas. Okay. Here in the free state, if you want to have freedom in X area, okay, you work on that. You're actually going to make some progress. You might even win. And there's all these other groups that are working in A, B, C, D, E, F, all the other areas at the same time. And so you're working really hard. You go, damn, this is hard. Oh man, we made this little progress. And you look around and you go, oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. You have an army of libertarians, the most based from around the world, building around you. And so it's not just you. You said, well, it's just 5 people here. 5 people. Yeah. And what are they doing? They're spinning. They're on the hamster wheel of death. right? Let's get ballot access. Let's go out and get our person on the ballot. And oh my goodness gracious, all the time and effort and energy. How many people?
I'm trying to end on happy thoughts, Dennis. I'm trying to end on happy thoughts. we will debate soon. You guys are making some great points. I love it. We can let this go
and visit.
I agree with you. And I think Dave does too on that point. Go explore. Go find your people for sure. Thank you guys both for being here. This has been fantastic, and I'm very much looking forward to PorcFest. Dave, I hope you do make it out soon. Dennis, I'm looking forward to seeing you. If you guys got any final thoughts, final plugs, anything you want to promote, I think Dennis probably definitely has something to promote. We might have already been on that, but Dennis, go ahead and tell everybody anything you have left.
For me, Dennis Pratt Free on Twitter. I do a lot of advertising about the Free States and about PorcFest. About a lot of the cool things that we're doing out here. It's Dennis Pratt Free. And then PorcFest.com. PorcFest.com. Pick up your tickets. Tickets are only $75. I don't want to hear any noise about expensive for a full damn week. $75. Just pick up the goddamn tickets. And then get a place to stay. If you need I would join the Facebook page of PorcFest Plans or the Telegram group PorcFest Attendee Chat. Both of those will allow you to connect up with porcupines and just say, hey, I'm looking for a place and that type of stuff. But the campsites are all gone, but people will put you up in their campsite. If you have a good enough deal, hey, I'll pay for the steaks, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or something like that. And then, there are hotels still. You can get Airbnbs. There's a lot of possibilities. But hustle, get your tickets, come out.
Amen. Absolutely. Dave, final thoughts, final plugs, all those things, man.
Yeah, man. Dennis, thanks for the chat today, and I appreciate your energy. Mr. Rogers said you find the helpers in life, and that's what you need to do. And you seem like a helper, man. You like putting this together and seeing the people enjoy, and you're a live and let live, like libertarian. I just think that's almost a lost art these days. So I really appreciate it. And kick ass, man. PorcFest is awesome. Like I said, it's one of the best libertarian experiments going. So you guys are kicking ass. And follow me on Twitter at Dave versus Goliath 1. And thanks to the Libertarian Party of Delaware, which I would say is probably a top 5 affiliate. LPNH, I would still say number 1. But
as far as hospitality, you guys are rivaled because Dave put me up on his couch for the weekend, and that was great. But New Hampshire guys keep bringing me out, and Dave's gonna have to step his game up out there in Delaware. So
2024, we're all gonna hang out. We're all going to Delaware. We're all going to New Hampshire, and I'm looking forward to it.
Agreed. Or we can meet somewhere in the middle, like Washington D.C. for a protest or something. But
it's actually not in the middle, though.
I don't know. Geography. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here.
Don't like to leave New Hampshire.
That's right. And rightly so. If I was there, I wouldn't leave either. But Dennis, thank you for being here. Dave, thank you for being here. I'm going to jump over. We're going to go into the after party and maybe talk about Vermin Supreme if anybody's down to stick around in his calling out of Angela McArdle for being too silly in the Libertarian Party. And if nobody wants to stick around, we probably won't do it, and we'll do it another time. But it's a fun one. Either way, this has gone on long, and it's been fun, and I'm very thankful for these two folks for doing the things that they do, and I hope they keep it up. Come out to PorcFest if you're going to be there. Hit me up, and let's hang. Let's have a drink, have a smoke, and kick it. But this has been good. We will see you next time. Until then, question everything. Stand comfortable. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here is how the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/thesystemsdown for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.